Hello and welcome back to the channel. The manhwa we are going to recap today is about a girl who became the Saintess and fell in forbidden love with a man. So let's begin with our recap. The manhwa begins with Leah, a blonde girl, and Herson, a boy, kissing in a library. After that, it cuts to showing an academy built by the late kings who passed away 30 years ago. It was originally constructed for commoners. There is a third library that sits untouched, never opened or noticed, completely desolate. Recently, among the academy students, a secret and popular rumor circulates about the eerie library. They say that if someone slips a piece of paper with worries written on it, along with a leaf, between the bookshelves, the fairy who resides in the third library will provide a wonderful answer to solve the problem, which is also just a rumor. The third library fairy everyone talks about is actually Saintess Leah Mitchell, a 20-year-old. Leah touches her cheeks and cutely indicates that she is the fairy, but that remains a secret. Leah then speaks about her situation in this wonderful academy. The only place in which she is living is a semi-confinement in the Annex Temple, and she is only allowed to go to the third library for 2 hours each week. Leah thinks that she should be sad that her only permitted outing every week is to a ruined library, but she notes that she can write responses to those notes as though this were her secret duty, as if she were the library fairy herself, and that has become her secret hobby. Today, Leah receives a very long note, and she is amazed by how mature the question is because she usually assumes her customers are 10 years old or younger. Leah wonders whether someone is pretending to write poorly on purpose or if perhaps an older student who heard the rumors is playing a prank. Either way, Leah finds it far too amusing not to respond, asking herself when else she would get to hear such a dilemma. Leah initially thinks the note might have been written by a priest because the formal, secretive tone makes her assume it has something to do with her religious duties. Then Leah reminds herself that it is not as if saints are forbidden from romantic relationships. Leah considers the consultation seriously and reverently. She realizes that if she puts her heart into it, she could use some amazing words since she used to be known for writing the best erotic stories in the neighborhood. Once Leah is finished with her devotional tasks, she returns to stack long piles of books. Leah thinks that usually people prefer thin, light volumes placed on lower shelves since they are young children. But she notes that the problematic note lay in a thick book placed on a high shelf. Leah ponders whether the note is a prank after all and wonders if she should discard the note. Leah's leg suddenly gets stuck against someone's foot because she cannot look forward properly due to the long stacks of books. The tall stacks of books start to fall on Leah as she tries to understand how she even bumped into someone since she knows the library routes as well as the back of her hand. Leah questions whether it could be another person, but she had just checked and believed there was no one here. As the books fall onto her face, Leah yells that a book is hurting her. Leah then realizes that she was hurt by a person because of the sound it made. Leah is shocked by the fact that someone is even in the library, especially since it is a public holiday today. Leah recalls that according to a nun named Doctorine, everyone should be resting at home. So Leah wonders what Herson is doing here. Leah asks herself what she should do. Leah remembers that if someone finds out she ran into someone, she might be banned from the library. Leah then excuses herself and tells Herson not to worry about her and that she is not hurt so he can go, and she apologizes for bumping into him and offers to pay hospital fees if he wants. Leah then questions why her voice is shaking so much and reminds herself that she should be confident. Leah's voice breaks as she asks Herson to get up since she feels uncomfortable. Leah then exclaims and asks if he can hear her. Leah, paranoid, wonders whether she should stay silent or run away with a book over her face or knock Herson out. Herson then starts to read the inappropriate notes that Leah wrote, and Leah yells that she did not write that. Leah rises to tell Herson that, and she is astonished by his appearance, her head repeating the word wow continuously. Herson catches Leah's hands and states that he caught her. Herson is confused by Leah's strange gaze. Leah continues repeating wow in her head as she exclaims that he should leave the note and give it back. Herson states that he cannot give back the valuable piece of evidence. Herson thinks to himself that the main culprit behind the disruption of the study atmosphere has finally been caught. Leah then asks Herson if he thinks Leah is the fairy. Leah insists that Herson came to target her, gather evidence, and deport her from the academy. Herson, confused, replies by saying what? Leah begs Herson not to say anything, explaining that she did not write the notes with bad intentions and that if the priests find out, they will be furious. Leah says that she did not behave badly and did not hide her identity with malicious intent. Leah says that the answers she wrote for the children were all honest. Herson then tries to explain that telling him to focus on developing his chest was too much. Herson is surprised to receive such a response. Leah then exclaims that Herson was the one who wrote the note. Leah threatens to report Herson to the temple and says he will be in trouble. Herson asks Leah how she is going to report such a glorious event. Leah begins to whimper that she will blame it all on Herson. Herson wonders what kind of frame-up he is going to face. Leah says that Herson should be very, very afraid because people always say how mean he is. Herson replies that it is obvious Leah is just spewing nonsense since she has no arguments. Leah tries to think of something to say and then yells that Herson seduced her. Leah thinks to herself that she does not even know what to pray for. Leah gives a nervous chuckle and asking Herson why he would walk around with his shirt completely undone, nervously insisting that a man being so indecent is unthinkable. Herson explains that it's just his chest, and now that he thinks about it, he realizes it's the same note Leah referred to earlier. Leah replies that she only said that because the chest is physically located above the legs. Herson laughs to himself, and Leah tells him to stop laughing. Herson then stops and smiles before explaining that his younger sibling attends this academy, so it isn't a bad thing for a novice to listen to students' concerns, but the academy follows a tightly packed schedule every day. He continues that some kids sneak out at dawn to leave notes in the third library, and while doing so once or twice might be acceptable, the ones who return repeatedly face trouble. If their grades fall below a certain level, they risk expulsion, and violating school rules beyond a certain extent also results in expulsion. Herson asks if it wouldn't be natural for him to worry about his younger sibling under such circumstances. Leah grasps herself and concedes that she understands his point. Students think of her as a fairy, so if she tells them it is too cold and hard to move, they will accept her response. She admits she would appreciate it if he could back her up in that, thinking to herself how foolish she has been for not realizing this earlier and acknowledging that she has only caused trouble until now. Herson attempts to say more, but Leah cuts him off, warning that suddenly cutting things off might create problems of its own. She reminds him that many children have been greatly comforted by her replies and suggests it would be best to extend the reply interval to once a week. Instead of responding to notes every night, she will try to ensure they do not come at night. If the fairy says it is too late because of lack of sleep, students might find it strange but accept her reasoning. Leah then begs Herson, asking if replying once a week would still not be enough. Herson remains silent for a moment before replying that it's not as if he set a trap to bother her, novice. He steps closer to Leah, causing her to question why he got so close, and she asks if he is not trying to bother her. Herson assures her that he only wanted to convey the situation, and then asks if she saw the long letter he left last week. Leah whimpers, asking if he means the note about the chest, and clarifies that she did not see the letter. Herson continues, explaining that some kids take and throw away other people's letters, so he feared he would never receive a reply. Leah is shocked to hear this, and Herson says that is why he came in person. He believes that replying once a week is appropriate. Leah's face lights up with joy. Herson adds that since he does not trust people easily, it would be reassuring if Leah could leave some guarantee that she will keep her promise. Leah stands entranced, muttering to herself that Herson's gaze feels so intense and almost piercing, wondering if this kind of closeness often appears in novels. Herson asks which novels she means, the ones where secrets are shared simply by being close together, and then leans in to kiss Leah. They kiss, but Leah pulls back, telling Herson to wait because she must go now. Herson points out that it is still broad daylight, but Leah insists that this should be enough and that she has to return inside. Herson reflects that her reaction was unexpected, then asks if she is angry. Leah replies that she enjoyed it in the end. Herson wonders if she really thought he would never harm her. Leah responds that, although it is their first meeting, there is no reason for him to try to harm her, is there? Herson counters that this attitude is too optimistic, and Leah replies that she would rather think that way, because if she were to ponder everything deeply, she would never have a chance to laugh in her lifetime. Leah then states that from now on, she will respond once a week, and since he took up her time, she asks him to put the books back in place. Leah begins to walk away, grabbing the door handle, thinking that her heart is pounding and she needs to get out quickly. She resolves that next time she must come quietly and alone. After considering further, Leah doubts that there is any guarantee Herson will keep his promises either. she realizes she needs to know his weaknesses too. Leah asks if he is willing to cooperate and instructs him to come to the third library tonight by 11 o'clock and tie a ribbon to the door knocker as a sign of his arrival. Herson laughs softly to himself, agrees, and says he accepts the novice's request. Langfest, which does not demand purity. It is well known within the empire that even priests may marry. But does this rule extend to Saintess Leah Mitchell, who has appeared for the first time in 52 years? Leah kissed a man she had never met before and promised a secret meeting. This matter carries greater consequence than a mere rebellion. After holding out for 9 months, Leah finally gives in, likely because today is her birthday. It has been such a tough day that she wants to do at least one thing her way. A nun calls out Leah's name several times until Leah yells out in confusion. The nun then explains that Leah seems to have a lot on her mind and advises concluding today's service here. Leah apologizes, and the nun says that she understands Leah must feel very frustrated. She continues, as mentioned before, they also wish to announce the appearance of the new Saintess without delay. If it were not for opposition from the royal palace, Leah wouldn't have had to stay hidden for so long. Leah agrees, thinking that the opposition. The nun replies that when she thinks about the reason Leah was used for holy power, it makes her even more upset. Leah thinks to herself the nun goes again, talking about her. The nun continues by saying that Herson saved the crown prince's life, but they seem to have forgotten that debt. Leah laughs to herself nervously, thinking she doesn't even know why the emperor isn't pleased with revealing the Saintess's appearance. Whenever she asks, they simply say it's complicated, so Leah decides to remain quiet for now. The nun says she must leave, and may the light of Langfest shine brightly today as always. Leah repeats that may it shine brightly today as always. As the door shuts, Leah quickly rises, grabs her belongings, and assumes there will be no guards tonight since she is escaping this place. Leah thinks she just needs to break the barrier and head out. Leah points her hand toward the mirror frame and murmurs that Goddess Langfest should please understand why she's using holy power for this, promising she will return before sunrise. Leah pants from exhaustion and then sees a white cloth wrapped around the door handle. She recognizes that Herson is here. She thought he might not have arrived. Leah lights a candle with a gadget she brought and fixes her hair, then says excuse me if there is anyone here. Leah says she saw the ribbon outside. If there's someone, please answer. Herson sneaks behind Leah and grabs her robe. Herson thinks so. It wasn't a squirrel. He thought she was carrying so many things she was a squirrel with acorns, almost failing to recognize Leah's hooded appearance. Herson asks Leah if she gets cold easily. Leah nervously says he could have told her he was here instead of startling her. What if someone passed by in the middle of the night? Herson replies that no one is coming here today. The students are probably under tight security, as some important people are coming for inspection tomorrow, but that inspection is just a lie. Leah responds that he told her a lie and calls Herson a villain. Herson observes that Leah seems comfortable in this villain's arms. Herson lets go of Leah, and Leah tells him not to mock her. Leah thinks to herself that Herson is annoying, but then asks if, since he came here, does that mean they are on the same page? Leah thinks to herself that Herson is annoying but also so handsome that she can forgive him for it. Leah asks Herson to give her a moment. Herson is confused by Leah's behavior as she lies her clothes everywhere like a carpet. Herson says wow when he heard they'd meet at the library at night. He thought she wanted to be romantic. Leah replies that Herson could say she is well prepared. The library floor is just too hard, and she thought 3 robes would be enough, but Herson is bigger than Leah imagined. Herson asks Leah if she is ready. Leah says not yet and instructs Herson to wash his hands. Herson chuckles to himself and says he already washed his hands. Leah replies that she did too, but says to go ahead. Herson comments that this setting lacks romance. Leah says that it might seem she is making a fuss, but if she is going to do this, she wants it to be clean and painless. Herson asks that he washed his hands. What's next? Leah pauses, cut off by her own thoughts, and then asks Herson his name. Herson is somewhat shocked. Herson says Leah finally asked him his name. He says his name is Herson. Leah says she wants to be called Tina. Herson replies that Tina is a bit old-fashioned and seems more fitting for someone born in his mother's generation. Leah thinks to herself that this is because it is her late mother's name. Herson asks Leah if she is often called clumsy. Leah asks why Herson is saying that suddenly. Herson says that she knows what they're going to do now, right? He just wants to make sure. Leah replies that she is not a child and that she is fully aware they are going to have a pure relationship from now on, as Person leans in for a kiss. This county of Helmand, located on the border of the desert, where a small, poor, rural convent exists. Each day begins at 4 in the morning. The nuns cleanse themselves, prepare for morning prayer, till the fields together, wash their habits and sheets, and spend the day transcribing scriptures. This is where Leah Mitchell, who lost her parents to the blood, has lived for 17 years. Leah Mitchell loves that life. She knocks on someone's door and remarks that the last sentence on page 174 reads something silly. The girl who answers asks Leah how her mission went, and Leah replies that it was successful. Leah enters the room, announcing that she secured volume 2 of The Duke with the Big Nose and also managed to uncover the carriage's secrets and the knight's fees that everyone ordered. The others are shocked and exclaim that there is no way the carriage's secrets can be obtained now. Leah explains that she was worried because she is so late. She thought the headmistress or one of the sisters would have caught her. The girl responds that Leah almost got caught. They asked her to show what she was bringing back from the errand, and the mere idea makes her break out into a cold sweat. The girl then remarks that someone picked some fruit and wonders who did it. Leah answers that it was Marie, who secretly plucked them during laundry time. The girl is impressed that Sister Charlotte was in charge of laundry today. In this simple life, the only form of rebellion and entertainment is sneaking fruit past the sisters' watchful eyes and gathering with fellow novices to read steamy romance novels. The girls exclaim, asking who wants to read volume 2 of The Duke with the Big Nose. Leah thinks that everyone has probably already indulged in too many romance novels. Leah reflects that she never felt she could serve like the higher sisters or the great priests, but she loves her convent family. She cherishes the morning sunlight and the afternoon breeze. Although Leah sometimes considers leaving the convent one day to start a family, she does not doubt that this life will continue until then. Leah thinks that the snow has finally stopped and notes that it has been so long since they could do laundry. Suddenly, a huge scream rings out announcing that everyone must stop what they are doing and come over. Hurt soldiers carry bodies inside, and the nun explains that an accident caused by the snow has caused many injuries, so they will bring them to the shrine for the time being. The nun adds that they will split into teams to boil water, clean the guest rooms, and prepare medicine and bandages. Leah thinks to herself that this is her first time seeing someone bleed so much. Then, remembering last winter changed everything, Leah notes that she is assigned to the innermost room today. She wishes he would open his eyes, fearing he might die before her eyes. One of the girls remarks that he is the most severely injured, and another girl admits she becomes nervous each time she is assigned to him. Leah asks the other girl if she wants to switch, pointing out that the other girl is not in charge of room 3 today, but instead has 2 patients. Leah asks if she is okay with that. Leah feels worried since she switched duties with Marie last time as well. The girl asks Leah if she is not scared. Leah responds that no, she believes that Langfest will save him. Actually, Leah is frightened but pretends to be cheerful. She swaps duties with the sisters most fearful of the task and greets the patient with a smile. Leah approaches the patient, saying hello and asking if he has been waiting. She suggests he should begin with some tea and soup and vows to clean him up at the end of the day. Leah wonders why she is so eager, then answers herself that today they will read a truly great book, one that would awaken even an unconscious person. Sitting beside someone whose breathing is fading, she plans to read him a romance novel. The patient does not open his eyes, and Leah feels disappointed. She carefully cleans and tends to every drop of blood down to his toenails, truly wishing he would open his eyes one day. Suddenly, a beam of light shoots up from a house toward the sky, prompting everyone to question what is happening and wonder if it is near the shrine. Leah thinks that despite everything, the gods have responded to that insignificant wish. Leah is confused by what just occurred. She calls out for her headmistress, explaining that she was merely praying when suddenly everything around her lit up. The headmistress calls Leah's name and declares that Leah is now the Saintess, the child of the gods who has appeared in this land after 52 years. Leah asks what it means to be a Saintess and wonders why she has become one. She questions herself. Could it be that Langfest answered her prayer? It indeed seems that the patient is breathing more easily now, relieving Leah. Before Leah can process her thoughts, a carriage from the Grand Temple arrives. The attendants rushed Leah away, and she has been confined for 9 months. Leah is not allowed to go outside, nor can she perform any simple cleaning or chores because they claim she is too precious. Leah knows it is because of the emperor, but the confinement suffocates her. If she had known Herson was the crown prince, Leah reflects, she would not have gone that far. Leah returns to the third library and sees the white cloth tied to the door once more. Leah thinks she sees Herson so often that it might be too much, but if it poses a problem, the gods will likely give her only a minor reprimand. Herson attempts to sneak up on Leah, but Leah turns and calls his name, remarking that he will not be able to startle her if he uses the same tactic every time. Herson responds with a smirk, saying not bad. He then tells Leah that novice, her screams are quite stirring. Leah replies, wow, what a villain. Herson notes that Leah still chose to spend the night with this villain. Leah observes that Herson's kind face makes up for it. Herson lifts Leah in his arms and asks if she will accept his request before leaning in for a kiss. Still unsure what kind of saint she should be or what lies ahead, Leah admits she has no idea what God's will is. Leah feels she has not changed, but her circumstances and the way people treat her have shifted so drastically that she remains in constant confusion. Leah believes that if Herson knew how much comfort these secret meetings bring her, he would laugh in disbelief as they lean in for a kiss. That the position given by Langfess is the way to serve her. Each class must stop any want to close the gap between them, and the trading business of commoners led by this want is an act that goes against God's will, so it should be banned. As the girl starts to ask what is written in those books, the nun answers that at the last monastery, they copied the scriptures and sold them to rich believers. Would that count as selling too? The girl thinks to herself. The nun says that if there is something the girl does not get, she should feel free to ask. The girl gasps, saying it's nothing, then says that the newest edition looks very different from what she knows. The meaning has changed, so the point of the text is now different. The version she learned might end up in the third library. She thinks and keeps wondering about the third library. The nun explains that it is under big repairs for the 10 days of a harvest festival break. The girl is shocked and shouts that the harvest festival break starts tomorrow. How are they only finding out now? The nun says they were told just this morning as well. The girl gets worried, thinking that suddenly it's a holiday so she can ignore the children's notes for now. But she is supposed to meet Herson tomorrow. She worries that if she leaves a note today, will Herson see it? Should she tie a ribbon? The girl answers herself that she can go today, right? The nun suggests that maybe it's a good chance to stay away from such worldly books. The girl feels confused, and the nun goes on to say that even though they have no choice but to keep her at the academy, teaching useful knowledge to commoners goes against Langfess's rules. The books from such a place are probably low quality. She worries that those books might have a bad effect on someone as noble as the girl chosen by Langfess. The girl thinks to herself that those were just old, normal books she has read many times and found quite fun. Surely the Grand Temple stays calm. But they might think that anything outside scriptures or religious activities is useless. Yet, usually that is not true. The girl says this quietly to herself. She must also learn things to survive, to work until her hands are rough, and find rest for her tired soul. Leah tells herself not to shing their monastery. Everyone says goodbye to the girl and tells her to stay safe. She feels like she is saying goodbye to that life and those people. But if that were wrong, she thinks, she would not have become a saint. She sighs and admits that maybe she misunderstood the scriptures or the words and that she will have to figure it out later. The nun notices and says that Lady Leah looks upset. Did something go wrong? Leah replies that she was just thinking about cultural differences. The nun looks confused and quiet, but Leah shakes it off, saying that anyway, if there is no problem, she would like to go to the library again today. The nun agrees that if that is what Leah wants, no one will stop her. She reminds Leah that the Grand Temple is very thankful to her. Leah sees this as a burden on herself. The nun goes on to say that as an apology for her mistake, Leah will be allowed to come back by 6 o'clock this evening. Leah is both shocked and happy to hear that. She is amazed that the nun really extended her time outside. She did not even get that on her birthday. The nun tells Leah to focus on her morning duties now, and Leah happily agrees. As she leaves, everyone tells Leah to stay safe, and Leah tells them she will return. She thinks that she does not know where Herson is staying, what he is doing at this time, or anything about him. Herson probably does not feel as worried as she does. If he does not hear from Leah, he might even cancel their meeting. For now, Leah decides to leave a note at the third library. If she is lucky, she might see him tomorrow, and she will tie ribbons all along the side path. But before that, more importantly, she must make sure no one is around Leah, then spots a wagon near the library, and thinks that maybe it belongs to a builder. She thinks this is bad. What should she do? A door opens and Leah sees Herson himself. Why is Herson here? She wonders. It looks like he even knows the wagon driver. Now that she thinks about it, he did say he worked with the trade guild. Maybe he is bringing building materials. Leah thinks that this is great. She calls out Herson's name and babbles about how the library is under repairs, so they must meet somewhere else tomorrow. Leah is worried about how to tell him this, but they meet so easily that it feels almost silly and she is relieved. Leah then tells Herson that she brought all these ribbons. In case she could not find him, she was going to tie them all around the nearby trees. Herson chuckles to himself, and the girl asks him where they should actually meet. The temple is closed and the field is too cold, she thinks and says. Herson answers that a field is not a good idea. He tells Leah to calm down a bit, and they both kiss again. Herson asks if Leah feels calmer now. Leah becomes very shy because she notes they are outside and it is the middle of the day. Herson does not care and says that no one is around. But finding a place is hard, and the only option that comes to mind for Herson is the second library. Leah admits that she was really worried earlier that they would not have a way to contact each other in a situation like this. The second library might still have some students even during holidays, making it hard to reach them. Instead, wouldn't it be better to meet somewhere outside, like an inn? During the repairs, how about they meet in town? Herson is surprised by this idea, but then says that it sounds like a good idea and that it is exactly what he wanted, with a strange grin. Leah wonders what that grin means. Herson asks if she has to be back by 4, right? It might be hard to go all the way to town. Should they choose the palace instead? Leah is quiet for a moment, then says that she can stay out until 6 today, so let's go together. Herson asks, really? That's perfect. Let's go quickly then. Herson then asks Leah if she wants anything special, and the girl replies that she wants to know the location, the owner's personality, the price, any extra services, and the layout. Herson laughs to himself and says that yes, surely he can do that. The girl thinks to herself that for a moment, Herson seemed happy because she suggested going to town, but now he looks clearly uncomfortable. It bothers Leah, but she will not push him about it. Even though they are not that close, she would feel quite upset if he tried to avoid the question or hide something. Leah quietly thinks to herself, Herson never actually said where they were supposed to meet. She just assumed it was the village. Did he mean the temple instead? She sighs, frustrated by the awkward silence between them. They've been walking for nearly 30 minutes without saying a word. Finally, Herson calls out to her, breaking the silence. She looks up and sees something in the distance. Is that the village? She gasps in amazement. The place is full of shops and people. It's livelier than she expected. She says that she heard it was supposed to be modest compared to the capital. But this place is really bustling. Herson nods. He explains that it's because of the academy. Villages this size usually don't have these kinds of shops. His Majesty has big plans for this place. It's going to grow a lot. Before he can say more, Leah cuts him off. She asks if they can look around a bit first, saying their secret meeting spot can wait. Herson tries to keep her calm. He points out that she sneaked out of the temple and is supposed to be hiding. Leah looks down, a little guilty. She agrees that he's right and suggests they just find the inn, somewhere quiet, dark, hidden away. Herson pulls off her robe. He tells her that he already said no to that. Leah freaks out. She exclaims that they're on the side of the road in broad daylight. Herson tells her to relax, saying he's not going to eat her. He instructs her to just turn her clothes inside out like this. It'll draw less attention. Leah is surprised by how thoughtful he's being. He adds that he'll go scout out an inn, and if he finds a good one, he'll tie a ribbon near where they met earlier. She's confused but doesn't question it. She agrees hesitantly. Herson says he'll make sure it checks all her picky little requirements, calling her novice with a smirk, but for now, they should just explore. Leah's eyes light up with excitement. She asks hesitantly if he's sure this is okay, saying her heart's racing. She wonders if it's normal for her feelings to be so stirred just by a few words or gestures from someone. Weren't they supposed to be looking for a new place to replace the library? As they walk, she sees some boys eating something colorful. She asks what that is. Herson replies that it's candy and asks if she hasn't had it before. She shakes her head, eyes wide. It looks so pretty. He suggests they try some, saying he owes her for that rare plum anyway. Leah looks nervous. She says she wasn't asking because she wanted it, and there are only kids in the line. People begin to stare, An adult standing in line for candy? The shopkeeper laughs. He tells her that candy's not just for kids and not to worry. Leah glares at Herson. She threatens that she'll get him back for this. He grins and asks if he buys her candy, and this is his reward. Truth is, she does want to try it. It's so sweet. He acts like he's in control, but he's really letting her do whatever she wants. He asks if she's picked one. She looks unsure. He suggests that fruit flavors are surprisingly good and tells her to pick whatever she likes, calling her nervous. She rolls her eyes. She says her name's Tina and asks why he keeps calling her nervous. Herson says it's because he's the villain with a sly grin. She mumbles that he really holds grudges, but laughs a little. She adds that the line's long and suggests they continue what he was saying about His Majesty. Herson says, oh right, explaining that His Majesty has big plans. This place is going to grow. More trade, more industries. The Academy students are the ones who will lead the change. Leah frowns. She says the Grand Temple thinks that kind of change should be avoided. According to a new interpretation of the summer book, chapter 42, verse 1, Herson cuts her off. He says of course they do. They don't want to lose money. He looks a bit angry, but then calms down. He tells her to forget it and pretend he didn't say anything. Leah is surprised. She never thought someone could dislike the temple. If he doesn't like the temple, does that mean he doesn't like monks either? Suddenly, a group of boys rush past. One of them pulls a knife and slices Leah's pocket open to steal something. She yells that he's a thief. She raises her voice again, declaring that if he harms her, the divine punishment of Langfest will fall upon him. Out of nowhere, the boy screams, grabbing his eyes. He cries out that his eyes hurt and he can't see. The crowd panics. Someone whispers that that's the same kid who stole bread last time. Leah steps forward to help, but Herson stops her. He tells her not to bother, saying the boy is just pretending to avoid getting in trouble. Leah says that's not true, using Herson's name. She explains that Langfest, the god of light, has taken his sight. Sure, stealing is a crime, but going blind forever? That's too harsh. She looks around. No one else is going to act. So it must be her. She must lift this divine punishment. The girl being worried because she got lucky just now. But if she's not careful, people will notice the light of the holy power. Just let my fingertips barely touch just the fingertips. All of this while the boy exclaims out of pain about his eyes. Herson stops her, making her not able to reach out to the boy. He goes on by saying that there are too many eyes on them and they should get out of here. Leah asked where. He said he knows a place and tells her to just put on her hood as Herson picks her up. Leah thinks to herself if Herson is angry. She didn't run off even though he tried to stop me, but in a twist, the boy could start seeing again. Leah did touch the boy and cured his blindness. Leah says that she's exhausted. It's been a very emotionally draining day. She felt hurt thinking Herson was hiding something and excited by his kind words, and once again hurt due to his thoughts about the temple. Right now she's just trying to figure out how to explain why she ran off. Leah grabs Herson's cloth and says that she must have looked really weird today. As Herson reaches the Schultz Trading Company, people started to recognize him as Lord Schultz and asked everyone if they saw the master come in. Herson thinks to himself that he needs to use the third floor. Meanwhile, Leah thinks to herself that Herson brought her to the place he's staying at. Well, she guesses walking into an inn like this would really draw attention. But this is his private space. She wonders if it's okay for her to be here. She looks around at Herson's room, and it's simpler than she expected. Herson goes on by saying that city pickpockets can be rough. Some of them are even inexperienced. That guy might have just stabbed her out of panic. He asks if she knows it's dangerous. Why did she rush in like that? He points out that priests are just human after all. He tells her that she's just an ordinary person too, calling her novice. Leah then goes on by calling his name and asks if he was worried. Herson just sighs and tells her not to do that again. Herson tells her to take a break and puts his head on Leah's lap. Leah thinks that he must have been really shaken up, especially after she rushed at someone who was waving a knife around and causing a scene. It's obvious he's upset. He's holding back from scolding her. Is it just because Herson is naturally kind? Maybe he really does care about her. She'll have to leave in 3 months. Leah lifts Herson's head and tells him she's been telling herself not to get too close and she doesn't want to create a situation where he'll have to apologize later. But she can't help feeling happy about this as she leans in for a kiss. After this, Herson cleans her feet. Leah asks if he has some kind of obsession with feet jokingly. Herson replies that no, nothing like that. She shouldn't worry. Lee wants to stop this since she thinks it's embarrassing.